So we'll give it a minute here. We are live on Instagram. So come on, baby. All right, we got a little bit of a delay, but it says that we are live. We are live. All right. Welcome back, everyone. I'm going to do a dual kind of screen thing. We are sharing live on Instagram at the same time as we are on Facebook. So I want to welcome everyone back to Live in the Shed with Rose. I am so excited. This is like my past meeting my present today. You are going to be zapped. I'm just going to say zap because today's episode I am calling kind of power failures and power successes as I put all of that. So first off, let me welcome you because Ariel Camporeale is with us here in the shed. So I first want to say welcome, Ariel. Hello.
Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, Rose.
Well, thank you for being here. I know we've got a little bit of a time switch up. You're in, are you just outside of Los Angeles in California?
Yes, I'm in Santa Monica, Los Angeles area.
Okay, good. And I'm really excited to chat with you today. As always, we always start this program. I like to set up why it is, good job, why it is that we do these Facebook Live sessions and these Instagram Live. We're living on the digital right now. We're in lockdown. We're in isolation. It's really difficult to stay inspired. And people know this. We've gone through economic fallout. All of you that saw that blast in Beirut, Lebanon last week, you probably flipped over. We've got marches going on and we are speaking up. Like there's great stuff happening. Our world is breaking and yet it's such a great opportunity as well it's a great opportunity as well to just build something new, right? It's an opportunity
Definitely.
to build something new. Yeah. So the reason I'm so grateful is because if we're looking at power and our own power, one of the things on womanscape.com and our WS magazine issue is we talk about powerful women. Men are powerful too. Men, we want you in the conversation. We want you contributing, and we feature stories about you too. But women's history has often been neglected, and we are powerful. We always have been. And so this is a place where we can come together and chat about really the power that we own and how people like Ariel can help us harness that power. So I want to give a quick little intro so you know where Ariel is coming from. First off, she's a creative empowerment director. She's involved with holistic health and wellness. You're a wellness practitioner, which means a lot of stuff. And Ariel can share a little bit about that. I'm starting to learn what that is and how important it is in our life. She has a degree in psychology, which is always helpful for anyone in life to understand how it is and why it is we think what we think. But you've got 26 years of experience in movement. And I know you are a dancer. You've been super, super active in the creative side. So the fact that you're bringing the wholeness of sort of dance and movement and then nutrition and all of that together, I think is going to be really powerful for people to hear today. So I don't know, maybe, to start off, before we get into what you're going to treat everyone with, I'd love to just say that Ariel and I go way back, don't we?
Yes, we do.
Yes, she's quite a bit younger than I am, as you will see, with that beautiful skin and healthy glow. But she and my daughter were really good friends, and it's really nice. So I've had the pleasure of seeing you turn into a beautiful young woman and so empowered. And I don't know, there's something emotionally connecting to that, to have that kind of relationship and to see you doing your own thing. This is your own business that you're running, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay, so you know what? I'm getting a little note here too. Do you want to hit your Instagram live and do it at the same time? Or you want to just keep it?
I'm not sure if I can connect right now. It might cut out our feed.
Okay.
But
well, no biggie. I'm happy to have you here and right now as you are.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again.
Yes. Okay, there is something he's telling me too. You can request to join. Do you want to do that for your readers while you're watching? Oh, she's got to watch your live feed. We better plan one of these again.
Yeah.
Darn. We'll do it again. That's okay, because I have a feeling we're going to get so much from this today. Let's focus on what we have on the here and now. I'm learning about the power of now.
Yes.
It's here. When we spoke, one of the things you started to share with me is how you start your day. Maybe you can share a little bit about what you do, so that people know and they get a sense of where they can find you and learn more. I know you've got this great Instagram feed that we're chatting about right now.
Yeah.
And that's, I've got lots of little notes. Soulfully Rooted, which I think is beautiful. So _ soulfully rooted. Soultreenyc.com is
Yeah, that's my
the
website
for Ariel. And she's a fellow podcaster. I love that. So she's already in the podcast scene way before I'm even there. But we can talk about some of those things as well today. So people that are completely engaged by what you're doing know how to get more info and seek you out and learn and feel good. Yeah.
Definitely. So morning routines, I think morning routines and rituals are extremely important, because that's when our brain is most susceptible to programming. And a lot of times we can wake up and allow our mind to take way rather than kind of take control of our minds and our days. So some of the things that I do first thing in the morning is wake up. As soon as I wake up, and I place a hand over my heart and my stomach, and I just take 10 deep breaths. I recognize the power of consciously breathing and of allowing my body to just really open up. And so after I just sit there with whatever's going on in the mind, you recognize what may have happened throughout the night with your dreams, with your subconscious brain kind of coming to light. And I like to take that and use it as a launching pad for gratitude, as well as for a creative endeavor. So using whatever it is, whether it's something that you don't resonate with as great or good feeling, or something that you do resonate with as waking up feeling really well. Tony Robbins, as we all know, the empowerment speaker, speaks about that, about saying thank you for even the stuff that we don't love. And so first thing in the morning, taking that moment to use whatever it is that pops up and build your morning around gratitude. So really waking up for yourself. I woke up for many years training people at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I found later on in my life that I enjoyed that hour, because it's an hour of stillness. It sounds hard and it may not seem, enticing, but waking up anywhere between 4 and 5:30 just gives you more peace of mind, because the brain waves, there's less people awake. It's right after all the late night people go to sleep. It's right before the early risers wake up. And so being able to think in that hour,
that quiet,
during that time, you're able to recognize the quiet that lives there naturally, and how we're picking up on a lot of things. So once I kind of set my body and my breath together, and I go forward to take whatever's in the brain and turn that into gratitude, to allow, then moving forward, to allow my somatics. And what that really means is my body's relationship with the external environment. Allow that to really take way and to guide me throughout my day with a little bit of structure. So first thing in the morning, I'm waking up, I'm breathing really deeply. I'm taking a few moments. Some people say that they can't go out and do meditation or do breath work or exercise. I'm just saying, wake up and begin to breathe deep and recognize how much your body wants that, and just be with yourself rather than go to the phone or the computer, or check in with your partner or who else may be in the home. So taking that time to just breathe, to set your intention for the day by listening to what your thoughts are doing and how they're dancing. And from there, then going and drinking a solid glass of water. We don't even recognize how much our mood is connected to food, and our thoughts are hormones, and our food is hormones. And so when we recognize how much our food and digestion and metabolism plays a role in thought and emotion and mood, we're more attuned to flushing the systems, allowing our body certain types of routine, and doing these things first thing in the morning. You're replenishing your system. You're getting your blood to flow a lot more easily with just drinking and getting your metabolism going. And also, we're mostly water. Our intervertebral discs in between each disc in between our spine is actually comprised of water. So from pain to fatigue to emotion, drinking water first thing in the morning.
So this is good. What I'm doing with, and I'm, you're much more conversant on Instagram than I am, but I'm trying to find a way to share with our viewers these tips. So the idea, first thing is breathe. Next one, I wrote flush, and I'm like, not that flush that you're thinking of. Get up and flush. We're talking like flush your body with water. So the idea of drinking water, and
digest your thoughts and turn them to gratitude.
You
know, so the breathing is there again. It's like we're giving our body little treats for what it's doing, for waking up. The treat is breath. The next treat is, well, that breath is going to help regulate your thought. And once you stay and you are with your thought, you may love it, you may not. Whichever way, turn it into a mantra, turn it into gratitude. From there, once you get your mindset, you could take that even farther. You could listen to music. I recommend listening to music that helps to regulate your brain to a higher vibration. If you Google or look on Spotify for yoga music, because that will help tell you what's in the subconscious and unconscious mind that really wants your attention, and that's going to make you burn more calories, more energy, just mulling over whatever it is in the back of the mind that could help you do something different throughout your day. You feel more grounded, more relaxed. So the whole idea is to feel happy, right?
Okay, I hear you. So what I'm doing is, because anyone in Instagram that's watching me is only seeing me, what I'm going to do is tell them to head over to womanscape.com to hear you, because you're the star, I think. To facebook.com, because you're the star right now, and they're watching me go, yes, and flush and gratitude, but I want them to hear what you're saying. So if it's too hard for you to join me here, I think there's a way for you to tag, but if your computer isn't set up for that, if you can, then let's bring you in. If not, I'm going to direct everyone to just facebook.com. Womanscape's page. Should I do that?
Sounds good. Yeah, I think so. Just because next time I'll be able to log on through my computer. Right now I'm just with you on my cell device.
So I'm going to do this because I honestly, and I'm sorry for interrupting, but I feel like
no problem.
I want people to take something away from this, because this is doable, actionable stuff. And there's a lot of stuff out there right now that is not. So I'm going to say thanks everyone for joining, and head over to facebook.com, our Womanscape page. It's WOMANSCAPE. So thanks for watching, and I'm going to totally devote myself over here to Ariel. Okay. And then I think this way I'll focus as well on you.
No problem.
Because I really like this. So we're going to get up and we're going to breathe. And I wanted to add, I know from doing my treks the last couple of years, when I did my mountain climb and when I was in the Arctic, the first thing in the morning that happened was my water bottle and breathing. It was cold, and it was taking a breath and sort of getting the body moving. And I noticed a difference physically. I really did. So I think you're right on. And then, okay, so what else in that volley of things? We have something beyond the gratitude and the writing down and logging that in.
Yes. So I recommend, if you have time, right? The more time you set for yourself in the beginning of the day, the more you'll milk from whatever your being has for you, which will help you on your creative journey. And your creative journey could just be perhaps making a different creative meal. It could be creating a podcast. It could be painting or drawing or coloring. But a lot of times, if we're not producing and creating something, we naturally will feel a little bit stuck because we are meant to create. So I think waking up in the morning and creating by writing can really help flush out the subpsyche. And there are many different authors and thought leaders that will speak to the power of journaling in the morning. And so you can journal by way of poetry. You can journal by way of conscious stream of thought. It doesn't have to make sense, but really just journaling and getting all of that excess energy out. Yeah.
Okay. And then how do we harness that? Yeah. How do we harness that?
Yeah. And so harnessing it would be moving into other practices, whether it's your evening practices, whether it's your movement practices, but it's utilizing that information to either cleanse the blockage or to be the product that you're waiting for that's unlocked. So a lot of times when I wake up really early, I start my morning, I just write a poem. And the poem is kind of a mix of my gratitude, of my ego, because there's nothing wrong with the ego. It's just not letting the ego get overzealous. The ego is your place in this world. The ego is your purpose and what you have to give to the world. So for me, it's writing poetry. For some people, it may just be writing to clear their heads so that they can paint or be creative in the evening and they don't feel stuck or maybe leaning towards things that aren't healthy practices in regularity. Maybe it's, some kind of substance, or maybe it's overindulgence in substance. Sometimes, a glass of wine for some people can be what helps them with their creative path. Sometimes, smoking anything from nicotine to cannabis can be very negative. I like to speak on when I work with my groups and when I work with my clients, I speak to them on giving your body what it's asking for without
but understanding.
Without going towards your conditioned response. So if someone's conditioned response is to eat a lot or binge in the evening, rather than doing that, knowing that you can sustain and ingest most of your calories over the day, giving yourself snacks, giving yourself healthy treats. If you like a lot of movement, learning how to give your body a lot of what you want in a smaller amount of time to really zap that energy so you don't feel constantly anxious throughout a day. Basically giving your body what it wants, but giving it the healthy alternative, and using that to help you harness whatever creative energy you really want. And for me, I believe it can really be harnessed in the beginning of the day. If people don't have that, it's creating that time for you in the end of the day, which is also very pertinent. It's just sometimes our attention span is not at the peak.
Well, and the end of the day, you want to zone out. I don't know if most people are like, I feel at the end of the day, I'm ready to go. Okay. And that's when I think it's dangerous. So it's interesting in the morning. I know that when I give myself a little extra time, because I'm honestly, I'm living for my first cup of coffee. That's all I am looking for in the morning. So when I wake up, I definitely have that. Sometimes it'll be, oh man, that was a really strange dream. Like, what is wrong with me? To that was really great. And I keep a notepad by my bed for creative things, because as a writer, I know my mind works through problems overnight. And in the morning, sometimes there are words or pictures or ideas that pop out and I get them right away on paper. But for the most part, I really just want to take a few minutes to do something. I've started doing this little prayer thing in the morning. It's like 3 minutes. It's already provided. And I listen to it, and it's a little Bible kind of thing. And it just gives me a little grounding. And a lot of times it hits to what it is I'm struggling with, which is really interesting. And it seems like it's out of nowhere. But at the end of the day, I think if other people are like I am, there's a tendency to say, let's flick on the TV. I'll just have a second glass of wine. It's the end of the day and it's now my free time. And that's what you're saying. Like, we've got to try to handle that before we get in bed, right?
Yes. And also a lot of times we don't even recognize how how potentially we are done for the day. It's time for bed, or it's time to shut things down and get more sleep so that we're waking up earlier and we're having more energy in the beginning of the day. And I think that sometimes can be where the conversation gets interesting, which is where where really is our morning? Where are we really breaking fast? What are we really looking forward to? And how can we remind our bodies that this choice feels better? Because once you get into any habit or cycle, you're telling your internal organs, hey, this is what's up, because they don't have eyes, they can't see.
This is timing. It's routine.
Yes. And so whenever you are producing the most dopamine, which I talked to you a little bit about this, the most serotonin, that's when your body's in really present moment thought. And so the only other choice you have is to get into narrative thought. Tell yourself a story about, how good that first cup of coffee is going to be, or tell yourself a story about how great that bed feels. And so our bodies are like in between the longing and the lusting, and then it's like, well, what's in that moment? And that's the here and now. And I find myself eager and
anticipating it.
Anticipating those moments of, oh, I can just be, I don't have anything to think about in the future or in the end, and trying to create practices that make it easier and easier to be there, which some people, it's setting up a very strict routine. And part of that routine is I have 3 hours in the beginning of my day and I need them. Whether it's just my alarm goes off and I'm kind of sleeping, yet awake in bed for another hour, or it's I'm waking up and doing movement first thing, or it's I get an hour to do whatever I want. I have an hour to be more strict. I have an hour to nourish myself, whether that's lots of liquid and vitamins, or I'm breaking fast and I'm eating early. And I think when we recognize the power of planning, but also having some variables in that planning, then we're able to harness our energy. And when we harness our energy, that's when we harness the creativity. And I think that's really where it is. It's saying at the end of the night, is there anything that I want to do that's exciting me, or am I kind of just enjoying this meditative time where I don't have to think? That's what people are seeking. So if we just start giving ourselves exactly what we really want, which is time to just be, and creating practices, whether it's morning showers, I speak about, is also another great tool. Hot and cold showers. Cold showers have amazing capacity for the same reason of blood circulation, to help just get all the blood away from the skin, draw it in, and then let the blood come back out. And it's like it's naturally creating this pump system, just like we do when we move, when we eat, when we drink, to just get things going.
Flushing and moving. Yeah.
So really, it's just flushing. This. Yeah, it's like you said, it's really
flushing.
Is
My husband talks about these as like the big S's. But anyway, we all know what those things might be. But truly, I think, what you're talking about is finding your Zen, your energy, creating a routine around letting your body harness what it naturally can do well if you let it, and you set up routines for it to work kind of efficiently and expressively. There's, in a way, there's no such word as expressively, but I think that great idea, I make up words like Bush does all the time. But they fit, right? They fit. There's something there about the being who you are and respecting that. To your point. Now, I know that you touch on something here about mindfulness and nutrition, and we work into that. How does that, and you've got a lovely acronym that kind of picks up on what I did before with kind of the consistency things with being happy. Can you share a little bit about that? Because I love this.
Yes. So M&M, movement, nutrition, and mindfulness. And so when we think of M&M, we think of like a sweet treat. And in a lot of ways, sugar is an easy way to kind of bring the brain into that dopamine, serotonin state. And so movement, nutrition, mindfulness is just a longer, it's a more spread out dose of your sugar. And so I believe that the mindfulness comes first. And then from mindfulness comes your nutrition, and then from nutrition comes your movement. Being mindful in the way you eat and the way you move can impact the entirety more so than just what you're eating and just what you're doing when you're moving. Because if your mindset is too filled with stress, cortisol, you're too naturally trained to be in a certain way. And again, coming back to our internal organs, not really having eyes and being able to see much, we sometimes get caught in muscle memory, motor memory, even emotion memory. And so if we're not watching how we are thinking or how we're being, or we're kind of hyped up on adrenaline because of music, even our movement can actually, our body can be telling us certain things given its environment and what it's feeling that we're not listening to. And so we could push ourselves too far. We could overstress the lungs and the body and not allow for the healing, which actually is what brings the homeostasis and the health. For nutrition, same thing. If we're not conscious and aware of our emotional state when we're eating, if we're not conscious and aware of if we're a little bit irritable or who we're eating around, our nutrition, once again, cannot be absorbing properly, or even the mix of what we're eating in our nutrition. The foods that are hot have more of an inflammatory response can be even worse off, or vice versa. You could actually get away with a little bit more if you're consciously eating and sharing with your body, like mantra in the morning, and telling your body, this is good, this is nourishing, this is okay. So the mindfulness part, I think, is the most important of the M&M. And I speak to the many different ways that they all can work together to give you that energy, that excitement for, oh, wow, I feel interconnected with the universe, the ether, the elements. And I feel like I'm being guided. I'm being told what to do each day, rather than having to just do so much each day. Okay, I have to do this, 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 but more so being present, having some type of structure, and then moving positively and compassionately, again, mindfulness, towards what you really want and that holistic sensation.
And this is so crazy important, because I know we're throwing a lot out there for a lot of people that are listening. They're like, okay, I'm not into the whole mindful thing. I've never done that. But I want to feel good. And you know what? I'm willing to go and hop on the bike, or and I eat pretty decently. So I kind of got all those things covered. I'm feeling okay. But where it matters, I think right now with what you're saying is, and maybe every generation feels this way, but right now it feels heavy. We have an unusual state, and people have compared this time to the flu in 1918, World War I, World War II, pandemics, bubonic plague. I mean, we are seeing a massive change in our economy, in what we knew to be the usual state of being. We could reduce it to just like, we can't even hug each other. So we need what you're doing, whether people, and maybe the trick is you don't need to do it all at once. It's good if we think M&M, like I'm never going to forget that. It's like M&Ms were my movie thing to have M&Ms. But now for me to reinvent it as mindful, as nutrition, and as moving in a way. So if I maybe try to your point, let's go for the mindfulness first. Let's think about it. Let's just consider it first, and then find one or two couple of things. Like if people are nervous, throw something beside your bed and wake up, and just set one intention. I'm going to wake up, and I can't do all that Ariel Camporeale told me to do for wellness, but I'm going to breathe. I'm going to just take 10 breaths and feel the difference.
That's what it's about.
Right? There are calming apps. There are all kinds of apps. There's no excuse not to be able to breathe in the morning. That's a gimme. Some people, like my husband, will say, well, I don't know if I'm really into the creative. He wants to go through the news feeds and stuff like that. But you know what? I catch him. He loves music, right? If music goes on, then boom, he's a different person. And that's creative. So maybe music in the morning is something for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
So find your thing, but you got to use this to get there, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay.
And I think what people don't realize is how much comes from that, not just the feeling good, but the desire to do more, the, oh wow, I didn't message or call that cousin or aunt, or oh wow, I didn't get back to that business person who was really interested in making this happen. And so those little moments that birth the action, those little moments that birth the enjoyment of mornings with your husband, right?
Yeah.
We seek to make those little moments a little bit better. And I think when we recognize how good it feels to be with ourselves first thing in the morning, then we find the community too, because all these practices are wonderful, but it's also great to have other people to talk about, to talk about them with, and also to experience this hard time with, right? What are you going through that, oh, I'm going through too? And I think that's really where the conversation starts, and also where it continues, and where we build the community of, oh wow, that practice was really good, I wonder what else I can do because I'm enjoying that, and I'd like to make even more of my time and my energy.
Right. So that speaks to not being afraid.
Yes. To try something new.
Something new. God knows, I mean, like, this is a good time. But also I like the way you're saying this too, Ariel, because there's something about just liking yourself, that it's okay to be with yourself, especially if anyone's listening and they're spending all their time alone because they're isolated and they have to be.
Yes.
Find that way to feel good about you, because if you don't take these steps, I don't think it's exaggeration for me to say the world is going to start to fall in on you.
Yeah.
You're going to feel it.
Yeah. And also something that I would love to leave everyone with, knowing that, and as you know, I've experienced a lot of loss in my life, and I've recognized, even with that loss, I had certain practices prior to the loss, and then I had practices that kind of fine-tuned old practices and made them even better. And I'm going to continue to do that. But part of those practices are the dance between control and surrender. And so the control is creating the structure. The surrender is, my morning may not always look like I'm lighting some incense, I'm saying my mantras, and I'm breathing, and then I'm going and drinking my water before my coffee. It may look like I get a quick 2-minute shower, I get the coffee, and I'm meditating on my drive to my first client. And that's what it's about, because if we don't allow the surrender, then we can really lose sight of the choice to be happy. And that's really, it's choosing that vibration. It's saying, oh, what's going on in there in the morning? I'm still going to choose to wake up and be excited for this. And if I'm not excited for this, what can I do? What's the little step I can do to make me more and more excited for more treats throughout the day? Because we deserve that. We deserve treats. We deserve to enjoy our lives.
Yeah. I love that. I think it's when the surrender, to your point, when life gets ahead of us and there are things that happen that are beyond our control, sometimes in the surrender, that's where you find the peace and some joy. So I'm going to use this, if you're good, to segue out. But before I do that, I want to ask you if there are other things, any kind of catch things or something you want to leave people with before I do that.
Yeah. Just to speak to that as well. Sometimes using the heavy emotions and trusting that others have them can be the birth of the creative process. And because you're praising that heavy emotion, that heavy feeling, which normally comes from, you're praising what you lost, which is what you loved. When you praise those things and when you express them, you leave more room to create a different environment to choose. And what
a great way.
Yeah. And the, the science and the psychology will support that your mood and your beliefs and your thoughts and your sensations, they're all creating your external environment. And so utilizing your power as a creator inside to set the tone.
Yeah.
And then
I love this.
And to let your emotions birth something that the
else.
world needs to just
Yeah.
relate to.
Well, and if it's anything, I know we share a couple of pains in common. And,
Hmm.
one in particular for me was a mantra where someone said to me, and it's stuck with me forever, two ways of seeing your pain. One is that know that you are not alone, that there are other people. And if you can mindfully shift or imagine that pain on top of you and everybody carrying a little piece, the pain doesn't seem to be so overwhelming for you. And
Yes.
then the other way is to acknowledge it, to your point, because I do think there are so many people in pain that are having panic attacks. I hear from people all the time.
Hmm.
They're feeling a sense of fear and they go to bed at night and they don't know why. They're having heart palpitations.
Hmm.
And it's coming from that feeling, that guttural reaction that we have in the world
Yeah.
sometimes, where for me, I try to acknowledge and accept it. And then I try to envision sitting beside it. It
Hmm.
doesn't leave me, it's always going to be there. But if
Yes.
I make space for it, and that's what I heard you saying, make space so that there is room for joy and other things to usher their
Yes.
way in. Yeah.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
100%. And a lot of times what I've learned about panic is that those are just their emotions that are bubbling, that
Yeah.
have been waiting to bubble out.
Right.
So
So
it's
let them.
just, yes, it's like you finally set time. The world forced you to set time. And
Yeah.
because of that, now the
True.
heart is finally allowed to feel safe enough to
Yeah.
open. And so,
Okay.
yeah, we got to
Yeah.
find our people.
We got a show together, Ariel.
Yes. Very
I
much.
love this. I wanna roll out. Well, first off, I
Mhm.
want to thank you so much for doing this tonight. I
Of
know
course.
always when we're in the shed like this, sometimes it goes longer and people kind of lose a little interest or they come and go in it. But in the end, we always get a lot of watches and shares afterwards.
Yeah.
And I think that's what's important. Just take what you can from it for anyone listening and find one thing. Be open to finding one thing. I'm going to send you back to Ariel because she's like a wellspring of knowledge. Go to her Soulfully Rooted Instagram account. And again, it'll all be up there for people to see, and your soultreenyc.com website.
Yes.
And
Yes.
then I'm going to put a pitch at some time. Hopefully, we'll come back together because I let it squeak out last time I did this that I've got a new podcast coming called Sipping
Hmm.
on Stories. So I'm going to share that with whoever is listening so that they know ahead of time. And that's really what Sipping on Stories is about. It's those pivotal moments where we all experience, someone has experienced pain or some kind of harrowing experience or an opportunity that allowed them to shift. And in the shift, they move to a better place. They're
Hmm.
happier, they're more engaged. It's a place they never thought they could go until they just gave into it
Yeah.
and flushed, right?
Yes.
So that they could do that. So please take this M&M,
Mm.
away with you today. And thank you so much. You're amazing.
You're so welcome. My
Oh my
pleasure.
gosh. All right. So we'll see
Anytime.
each other soon again. Okay.
Definitely.
All right. Have a great night, everyone. If you haven't, please subscribe to Ariel's feeds on Instagram and check out her website. And then I'm going to encourage you to do the same for womanscape.com and the soon to be handles of Sipping on Stories. So take
Yep.
care. All right.
Bye
Bye
bye.
for now. Bye, everyone. Have a great night.